here's the Magellan Strait here, and you have to come down through here and then run on down, right down through here, until we could get down to the Brecknock. Now, this is the way, this is the Magellan Strait that goes on through here. We're told on the Zape, as Karin said, to come down around here and then beat back here. So we, in fact, sneaked down this one here and came out over here. We still had to wait 2 or 3 days to get into Brecknock, and that's actually in, that last picture was actually in this little spot right in here. And that's Ile Noire that, anybody's read Jerry Clark's book, or he talks about Ile Noire. God, that guy had to be, well, he had to be something else, didn't he? And the Milky Way is all out around here. So once we'd gotten to Brecknock, we were pretty well right, because from there it's down inside the islands and all the way down until we can get down through Canal O'Brien here. Now, over here, the rainfall is 10 times greater than it is here. This is Lemaire Strait, 15 miles wide. This is Navarino, a big island with Porto Williams just here, Ushuaia is here, and a number of trampers come over and you can tramp around this island. But the place that is absolutely fascinating is really virtually the end of the Andes chain and the Darwin ice cap that sits over here, over this area here. And this Darwin ice cap sits up on top, but glaciers coming down. This is all glaciated, but wonderful anchorages all around here and more glaciers down around here. And this is the north arm of the Beagle, the south arm of the Beagle, and the Beagle leads right on down here until you get out to sea. Cape Horn is down here, and so we'll show you a few photos where we did the Cape Horn circuit, as it's known. A lot of people do it. You come out of here, work down through here, not many anchorages, come out, round through this gap and round Ile Hornos, and then scuttle back into shelter before it starts to get nasty. But like the man there, we also know how to do that to windward as well. Typical Beagle Canal, 35 knots, I suppose. That's you get a lot of that. And this is we did use the autopilot quite a bit, just making sure that it stayed on track and that sort of thing. Oh, sorry, Tom, we're standing in the way, aren't we? Yeah, you're motor sailing a lot, and generally the autopilot does the job. They're not big seas, but it does actually blow pretty hard, and 50 knots is quite common, really. Hard to get to windward in those conditions. Well, yes, and when you want to go west, because Ushuaia and Porto Williams, and of course you go from one country to the other, you've got to go there. You can't go any other way. And getting back to the west can be awkward. This is one of the this is part of the ice cap up here, glacier up here, and this is just a huge waterfall coming out from underneath. Now, to give you some idea, if there was a yacht in here, it would be about that high. We're talking about absolutely enormous, gigantic, overbearing sort of terrain. The Beagle, as I showed you, it's about 60 miles north of Cape Horn, about 200 miles long, and there are at least 20 glaciers close by. About 7 of those are tidewater glaciers, discharging ice. And but the glaciers are in retreat, and so you see a number of these hanging glaciers, as they call them, with the river running out from underneath. Just mountains of ice. The Darwin ice cap actually leaves you speechless. It's very much an Antarctic type scene, I think. But then you sort of think about it when you're there, and you think back, okay, 200 years ago, the ice was far, far more extensive, and when the Beagle was down there with Darwin on board and Captain Fitzroy, just how much more spectacular it must have been at that stage.
Okay, yes, this was late February, early March. We had just a 2 to 3 week gap in the weather. Wonderful. So we had 3 weeks Beagle, just like that. Sun, a reasonable amount of wind, but not too much. Because we were going, this time we were going west, we were going back.
Yep.
We wanted to improve the trajectory. So we were actually going, we thought we would have weeks trying to get that. We actually managed to do it today.
Anchored off a lot of glaciers and coves and things. We actually climbed up on this glacier. Thought about Antarctica. The charter boat skippers we talked to, they suggested that we were probably right in sticking around Isla Gordon, which is about the size of Great Barrier. And their comments were that it was just about as spectacular there. But there are so many more walks ashore and so many more anchorages. Yachts that go to Antarctica can't anchor very often over there because of the depth. And although the cruise ships can go over there and send people ashore, yachts find it much more difficult. And it's pretty dangerous to walk ashore on a lot of Antarctica because it's ice with crevasses. And in fact, actually, found out later that a super yacht owner had gone over there with his yacht and crew, and he'd been taking a photograph, stepped backwards, went down a glacier, and they took his body home. So, yeah.
Mary, Jim's sister, and her partner joined us for about 3 weeks before, and we had a little visit from Santa Claus, and we were, when we had a family Christmas, and he was drinking far too much whiskey, obviously, and the ice he got from the glacier. So it was amazing.
There's something wrong with that ice. Oh, the air temperature was generally inside the boat. We kept it up about 17, 18 degrees because we were well insulated, and maybe 15, 16, and we had a bit of heating inside the boat and that sort of thing. We had air, for instance, blowing out of the engine room into the boat to help warm it up. The sea temperature, of course, in the ice was around about 2 or 3 degrees, but generally the air temperature outside was probably 10, 12. Wasn't too bad. Yeah, you're wearing a vest and maybe a thick woolly shirt, and that was about it. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that did a few things like that. Yeah. We met up with a lot of other boats and rafted up next to each other, and here we are in Kalita Kalawani, I think it is. I'm rafted up to a boat next door. It was very calm and lovely. Actually, that slide's upside down. Take a look at it. It's that calm. So that's the reflected view. I just turned it upside down just to show you how nice it was. Same place, and it's the right way up this one. But the glare off the snow and the ice up there, it actually showed up better in the reflected view than it did in the original view. So you're tucked in behind places like this. The depth is quite deep, and you may or may not put down an anchor in there. But run out some shorelines, and you can do what it likes because the land around is just so high and so protected. And just to give you some idea of the height and the scale of the place, that's a 40-foot yacht, not too far away from us. Those mountains along the side there of the southern Beagle, 8,000 feet. Yep, and very close. And you can see the slope that just continues down into the the bottomless as far as the depth band is concerned. The canals there. Yeah, sure. Gull wing. Wing and wing is another term, yeah. But everything nautical has about 6 different names. and both of you are correct.
Okay. So several of the glaciers are tidewater and sheer heaps of ice, so you just have to squeeze your way through it. If you hit it, it's a bit nasty, so I'm trying to walk the rest of through it. I'm not sure that he was watching because we did it quite a few times.
Made nasty crunching noises when you did hit it. So, and we stopped the boat a few times with it. The boat's wooden, by the way, cold molded wooden boat. But there's just some absolutely magnificent, beautiful anchorages. This one, we climbed up here, tied up shorelines and an anchor, and only about 10 meters of water out there. And within, um, you know, we're getting down closer to Port Williams now. But half an hour later, the wind had got up to about 30 knots. It was blowing straight in from the northeast, which is an unusual direction. And there's quite a lot of ice in the water, brashy ice, and that blew into our anchorage and piled up on the shore, like so. 10 minutes after this, the waves were breaking and the boat was going up and down. And of course, we had the dinghy there, and we had my sister, who's here with us tonight, and her partner. They were ashore. They took the photos, and we had to get them back. And they said it was a little bit hard getting the dinghy through the ice. I stayed on board. About 2 meters there. This is looking west along the Beagle. This is Isla Gordon here, the mainland Terra del Fuego up here. Wonderful place for walking ashore. And this is Caleta Olla, O-L-L-A, which is one of the best known caletas. It's very conveniently placed for any work around here. And you can see it actually comes right round in a curve. You anchor out shorelines, and we just use the dinghy to come across and walk over here. But of course, the prevailing wind blows down here, and it can be scudding right across, right in there by the beach. It remains calm and secure with the wind whistling over the top. This is a place called Sino Garibaldi, which is on the mainland side of just not very far from where the last photo was taken. 2 glaciers in there shed ice. We actually, there was no wind at that particular moment, and so we got out in the dinghy to take some photos. The anchor hanging over the side just pushes some of the ice flows away from the boat. They scrape off paint and that sort of thing. Sea temperature is obviously about 0, and it was nice and warm and dry inside. So that's really absolutely critical.
This is a lovely seal colony. And you can see the vulture just above. Okay. The vultures were actually everywhere, but they were really quite friendly creatures, and they certainly cleaned the place up. But yeah, I just love the seals. It's gorgeous, and I think we were going to see Garibaldi at the time, and as we went, and we were really close to have a good look at it.
Some of the ice is quite big, probably 50 tons plus. Of course, most of it's underwater. I actually said to Karin at one stage, I think, why don't I go and stand on the ice floe with a camera and take photographs? Karin said a few things, and so I got cold feet. You know how it is when you're in those sort of situations. You just got to go with the flow.
So this is the southernmost Argentinian town. This is Ushuaia. Boats in there are mainly local boats, and summer weather is similar to our winter. Snow on the hills, as you can see. And the west wind was incredibly cold. It was blasting through us. We walked the marina, which was over this side, we go over a causeway into the town itself. We were just absolutely frozen by the wind.
It is. It's a small city, about the size of Nelson, close to Nelson. Yeah.